to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, in your own story, in your own narrative, because that is what the seasons and times require of us. I really want to thank every single person that supports us on Patreon and PayPal and enables us to continue to bring the shows to you concerning our awakening, because, beloveds, a splitting is up ahead. A crossroads is up ahead where some will choose to go left and some will choose to go right. The decision making started in 2020. It's not been easy because both, the one side in particular has used all kinds of, psyop and psychological manipulation, mind control, repetitive kind of just ramming certain agendas down your throat. So unfortunately, many may not make it to what I want to call the new world, the new kind of the new how do I call it? The new production that's kind of unfolding, and they will fold with Babylon, because right now, beloveds, there's going to be two different worlds as moving forward. And it is so important for you to get your consciousness back, because everything, colonialism, slavery, the engineered poverty, HIV, Ebola, the pandemic, everything has been about this. Everything has been religion, education. Everything has been to bring you to this point of confusion and to this point of obscurity where you don't even know yourself. So you can't even truly make an informed decision of next, where you really, people have just fallen from mighty beings, mighty creators, to crying spiritual babies, wondering if they're going to a heaven or hell. Heaven and hell are right here, beloveds. Heaven and hell are figments of our imagination that exist right here. And I'll definitely do another show on that. But we must start to really control our consciousness, beloveds, and raise up our consciousness and really, avoid people with different kinds of consciousness, because we really have to protect our minds, because it's been about this. It's been about, do you get the jab or do you not get the jab, et cetera, et cetera. And I have a lot of more information, a lot more on, our Patreon page. So please, if you really want to just have the, a well-rounded information so that you can make the best decision for yourself and your family, and even to share, consider joining our Patreon. And the links are definitely down below. But it is really time, beloveds, for us to move into a place where we start to protect our consciousness, which means we almost have to go into like wartime survival mode mentally, which means that right now you can't indulge in just watching all the entertainment and movies and TV shows. You really can't indulge, and you can't give your consciousness to that, because that continues to build it. Like I realized the Grammys or something was trending here in Kenya on Twitter. And then I realized, the Babylon system is even making certain subjects that they find interesting trend globally, so that it can kind of attract all these, the mental energy of all these people who will see it and think people in their countries are discussing it, and then they'll comment on it. Because before I used to think, why are Kenyans discussing Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah? Like, first of all, do people even know it was a CGN? Let me not even go there. But beloveds, it's really time to protect your consciousness, because everything you're seeing out there is not as it seems. There's a lot that's being engineered to just mash you up mentally and keep you in this lower state of confusion, doubt and fear. And when what you need is full clarity, full faith in yourself and the spiritual team you're moving with, and really a clear situational analysis. And so this is the time, beloveds, where we have to really dial back our lives. And as I said, number one, you can't just watch everything. You can't just listen to everything. You have to have already decided by this point what your narrative is. And then everything you listen to should reinforce and support and uplift and help you overstand the narrative that you are choosing to walk in. So you can't be here and you're looking at what's happening over there, which is also why, and someone had written this in the comments, and I completely agreed. Even with the pandemic, we've got to not make it such a big part of our daily lives. I mean, the global media system, which is controlled by like 5 people, 5 entities, and et cetera, has been pushing that agenda for so long to create the panic. They're not creating the panic and the fear that they want because people aren't giving them their attention. And so pull back your attention, beloveds. And that's the one advice you can even give, because I know there's a lot of family members, beloveds, that are really in so deep because they watch CNN and BBC and all these things, even local news 24/7. So for them, they're like, when's the vaccine coming out? Where can I get it? Or whatever, but they're just not even seeing clearly what's happening with the Babylon agenda. So one of the things is just encourage people, less time in front of the tell lies to your vision, tell I vision. Less time in front of the screens, because the technology has gotten so far right now, beloveds, that they can even create an interview like Harry, Meghan, and Oprah and make you think all those people really had that interview and it went down like that. But the technology is so advanced where they can make something like that didn't even happen. There was a figment of someone's imagination actually appear real. And I'm not saying that, people need to do their own research. I'm just giving an example because that's what's on people's minds. Because a lot of the people that people followed are no longer who they really were, The machines have taken a lot of these people, beloveds. So really be careful with what you're watching. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Today, I'm really just talking about protecting your consciousness, moving like it's a wartime season, because that's what it is. We're at war mentally. There's an onslaught of our minds to wear us down. And only the fittest of the fittest of the fittest mentally shall survive, which is why I keep saying have an agile mind. Stop holding on to absolutes and feeling like you'll die for narratives that you weren't even there to witness or that have been told to you, and really start to just work on elevating and raising yourself, raising your vibration, raising your power. Because so many of us right now, so many people right now are spiritually weak. And when you're spiritually weak, that's when fear can penetrate you and make you make some decisions that you otherwise wouldn't make if you were in your normal, calm, sound mind. And with the whole pandemic and everything that's going on, there's an agenda to keep you kind of off balance, because all these things of fear and anxiety and kind of being this stuck energy all create that. But we must protect our consciousness, beloveds. First of all, from what we watch. I mean, and there's so much, like every time I go on YouTube, like when I'm actually working, I'm noticing how much they're promoting certain agendas, like interracial relationships are being promoted excessively in Africa, Other things are, because, it's not random what video, TV, what shows you get, etc., especially LGBTQ kind of, the soft kind of introduction of them, that their channels are also being promoted excessively. So you can't just walk onto these YouTube streets and walk onto these internet and social media streets without your defenses. And your defenses is to know clearly what you're going to look for, and to really be walking with full consciousness and discernment. Because there's certain things that I used to just love watching that my spirit has refused. I can't give my energy to that anymore, and that's so critical. Secondly, you really need to shut down and shut out the voices of those who are totally in, like, I don't want to say those who are not part of your truth. Like, if you've made a decision of where you think the world is going, then many people most likely aren't on the same page as you, but you can't risk the future of your bloodline so that you can appease others. This is really the season, beloveds, for adulting, where it's really about every man for himself and every, woman kind of making those decisions, those informed, wise decisions moving forward about where they're going to live. Because, life is not going back to normal, beloveds. I've been saying that the whole of 2020. We're now, many countries are now celebrating the 1 year anniversary of lockdowns or curfews. Life is definitely not going to go back the way it was. And now we're going to start seeing the ramifications of governments closing their nations down, etc., etc. So you already need to be on your way, beloveds, before the sheeple, the masses, start to wake up and get agitated. You already need to have your food stocked up, your water stocked up. If you're living in Africa, you need to be out of the cities and towns, living in some community where you've already gotten to know your villagers, and not in a fancy schmancy house, but in something that is just off-grid, beautiful yet manageable. I'll definitely be sharing some of the things that I've been doing with my off-grid in the future, as Spirit leads. But these are the things you should be concentrating on. And so, if there's parents or cousins or friends who you've tried to debate with and they're trying to convince you to do one thing and you're trying to convince them to do one thing, beloveds, that time is over. That time of trying to waste your energy to convince anyone, it's over. Let everybody, unless someone comes and asks you what opinion, then definitely arm yourselves, because it's painful. I know a lot of people, like, this whole situation with the pandemic and the masks and everything is splitting families right down the middle, where some family members are like, no, CNN has said this, blah, 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 I've heard this, I've heard that, and they're going one direction. And you're seen as the conspiracy theorist or the one. But it's reached a point now where I've said this before, you just have to now prepare your heart, beloveds. Because it's going to reach a point where if someone has taken the mark, you literally can't hang out with them. Like, literally, that's where we're heading. So you need to really protect your consciousness in that way. Protect what you're watching, protect the kind of conversations and interactions that you're getting into, and also try and disconnect your life as much as possible from the daily grind that you've always been into. Because, there's a lot of research that says if you do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. So they usually advise people, like, if you want to stop smoking, if you want to stop drinking, if you want to this, whatever you want to stop, try stopping for 21 days, and then your system will adjust itself, and then it will be hard. And I feel like we have to try that, even if it's hard, like even if it's just the first step. Start doing that 21 days of moving into your new life, where, maybe the first 21 days it's 1 hour, but if increasingly you're spending more time in the new life you're creating for yourself than in the old life, because you'll find ways to manage, and there's a lot of pull right now from the Babylon system with work, with bills, with money. They're really just, working it so that you still even, you're kind of on autopilot, but don't be on autopilot. Start to make plans, start to learn things online, and the things to do is, like, get a talent, get a trade that you can get, a skill, get your children to pick up a skill. There's so much information online from soap making, all kinds of stuff, how to make oils from carrots, etc., like all these things. I don't know what you fancy or what you feel called to, but these are the ways that you should be using your time, and you'll find eventually it will gain its own momentum and it will become a bigger part of your life. Spend more time in your spiritual realm. Remember to always move in silence, beloveds. Remember to always move in silence, because I think it's really that time now. Like, what needed to be said has been said, but now it's the time and season for action. So just, make sure you're protecting your consciousness. There's so many other things I could say. If you have any, please put them in the comments below. I absolutely love, to read all your comments and kind of see where people's minds are at. And there's many, many other things you should be doing. Remember, protect your consciousness. Get more and more out of Babylon. That's what you should be spending 100% of your time on, or at least 80% of your time on, is getting out of Babylon. And anything you're seeking should be informing you, uplifting you, because even good vibes is really powerful. But not, avoid those things that put you in fear or in confusion, or just really are a massive distraction. Until next time, Tukopa Moja.